Today we have the Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus 5G, and I partnered with Xiaomi to make this video. I'm gonna go over the general overview and of course the camera experience. For the camera UI, it's pretty simple and straightforward. You do have quick access buttons to ultra wide, 1x, 2x, and 4x. Now, even though you do have those zoomed in options, the phone doesn't have a telephoto lens, but instead it has a 200 megapixel main wide camera. And when I zoomed into the 2x and 4x, they actually look pretty good. It doesn't look too digitized, or I didn't see any loss of quality. So during the daytime when I was zooming in, I didn't really feel like I missed too much of the telephoto lens. Now for the other cameras, there is a 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, a 2 megapixel macro camera, and a 20 megapixel front facing selfie camera. Now one thing to point out is when you're switching cameras, you do see some sort of color shift, which you can see from the ultra wide to the main camera, but once you start zooming in, there is no color shift because it's using the same camera sensor. Taking selfies looks pretty good, and everything is pretty exposed. Now you can get some good background blur if you take pictures close enough to the subject. And even shooting at 2x is easy too since you're not using the telephoto lens, which most of them do have a minimal focusing distance, which sometimes can be a bit hard taking photos since you have to be at a certain distance but you don't have that much space. And taking pictures during nighttime doesn't actually look that bad either. I do notice that there is a bit more processing time when you're taking pictures, but it's not too bad to the point where it ruins the camera experience. Now shooting video is also decently well. As you can tell, there is stabilization, so you don't have to worry about shaky footage. And using the main camera to shoot yourself, it's still wide enough to get a close-up shot without feeling too close. And as I mentioned before, once you start shooting closer up to your subject, you will see some sort of that background blur. So shooting video is pretty passable if you're doing any casual vlogging or just capturing the moments during your vacation or even your kids. Now for the quality, you can shoot all the way up to 4K 30, and you also have plenty of other modes like portrait, night, pro mode, dual video, and a lot of other modes that you may or may not use. Now there is a 200 megapixel camera mode you can use, and here's just some samples to show you what they look like. And you can zoom up to 2x in this mode. Now there will be AI Erase Pro and AI Image Expansion coming out later, which can be handy if you want to remove stuff in the background. Now continuing on to other AI stuff, you do have Gemini and also Gemini Live, which is pretty helpful if you have a random question you can ask, or if you want to find out more information about certain things. I think it's pretty nice to have these features, which is pretty common on other flagship phones too. Another useful AI feature is Circle to Search, which basically you can hold down the home button and you can circle on anything on the screen to find out more information as well. In terms of the processor, it's a 7S Gen 3, so as I was playing mini games and when it got hectic, I didn't feel any lag at all. So if you do play casual games like something you would do as you're waiting for your bus or waiting for an appointment, then it can easily handle those games. Now in terms of the heavy hardcore games, you can probably play it but in the lighter settings. For the design, there is a vegan leather finish, and I just love how it feels in the hands. Also, the purple looks pretty good, and I noticed that people were looking at it as I was walking through the bridge. Now for durability, this phone is rated IP68, so it is water and dust resistant. Now there could be a case where you're washing dishes and you just want to search something up really quick, you can still do it without drying off your hands. And even with the screen being wet, you can still use it, and it does feel pretty responsive. Now let's say you accidentally dropped it in a toilet or wherever it can be submerged in the water for a quick second, then don't be afraid because you can still use it right after you take it out. Now I would still recommend drying your phone completely to be super safe, but from what I've tested, once I took it out the water, I pretty much can use it normally. Now I'm not saying you should do this every day, but I think it's nice to have it rated IP68 just in case these accidents happen. Now this phone also has something called an All-Star armor structure, which has an energy absorbing foam and a polymer buffering material, which helps with impact. As you can tell, I dropped it from my seat, from the kitchen counter, and from my pocket. As you can tell, I barely saw any scratches, there's no dents at all, and the phone just looks fine. Now if you happen to drop it on rocks or concrete, then it would be pretty obvious that you will see some scuff marks. But if it's on marble or hardwood floors, then you probably wouldn't notice any damage at all. On top of that, there is a Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2 display, so if you happen to put this in your pocket with keys, then most likely you won't see any scratches too. So overall, the Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus 5G is a very good looking phone, good cameras, and has great durability.